Hi guys, Jay Smith here, welcome to the AskGolfNut channel. Today we're doing the Srixon ZX5 MK2. I finally got all the Srixon irons to test. I'm doing all the review of the 4, the 5, the 7, and I also got the driver, the 5 and the 7 also to do. So if you haven't already subscribed, get down there, go and subscribe. It's great for the channel, it's free, and you don't want to miss all the normal reviews that I do, and also comparisons that I'm going to be doing against these, against the other manufacturers that this is designed to compete up against. So you've got the ZX4, which is maximum help, maximum forgiveness, quite a bit distance inspired as well. We've got fairly strong lofts. The ZX5 is a little bit more sensible when it comes to lofts. This 7 iron that I've got here is 31 degrees. Now of course there are 7 irons out there which are much stronger than that and also much weaker. So this ZX5 is designed to blend with the ZX7 if you want, and then also the ZX4 as well. So depending on what side you want, you can have the ZX5 when it comes to ZX4 and the longer irons harder to hit, and then the ZX5 when it comes to the scoring irons, or you could have, for the more of a player side of it, you can have the ZX7s for the scoring irons, and then the ZX5s when you need a little bit more help when it comes to getting the golf ball up in the air. Now, when it comes to technology within this, well, slightly smaller version of the ZX4, we have the mainframe face. The mainframe face is basically a variable thickness face, which allows them to make the, well, effectively they're dumbing the middle down, because they can make faces now that fast that effectively the middle is illegal. So they dumb it down by making it slightly thicker to make it legal, and then the outsides they make it thinner. So as you move away from the middle, normally you lose distance, you lose ball speed, efficiency, smash factor. But then obviously making the face thinner, you get a little bit more spring, and you gain some of that ball speed back. More ball speed, effectively less lost distance. That's the idea. You've got the Tour V-sole that Srixon like to talk about when it comes to turf interaction. Again, when it comes to turf interaction, I'm not someone who really gets involved too much with it, because different manufacturers make different soles, different bounce numbers, and they all seem to work. But if you're someone who likes your turf interaction and wants it in a certain way or feel in a certain way, then obviously that's why you get custom fit, to make sure you get the right turf interaction for yourself. And then in the face you've got the progressive grooves. What that is doing is basically having a wider groove in the longer irons to somewhere around sort of 7 or 8, and then from 8 to pitching wedge you get the slightly thinner grooves but deeper grooves to channel away the grass matter, biomatter grass, when we do obviously get those flyers from time to time. Right, that's done when it comes to the technology within the head. Let's go get this on a hole. I'm going to do the same hole for all of the ZX reviews, so I'm going to be at the same hole. Let's go change the data set so we've got the nice decent colour line for the ZX5, and let's go see how this thing gets on. Data set now changed. We have it at Beaver Hills hole 4. It's still on the same hole this time. It's now down to 180 yards. That's still fair enough when it comes to a 7 iron ZX5 at 31 degrees. Now the miss on this one is middle of green to the right, never left, because well, the pin's on the left and you short side yourself. So if you're playing golf, not a good idea to do that. Go for the fat part of the green always. So the looks of the ZX5 compared to the ZX4, got a thinner top line, although I'd say it's now medium rather than mediumly thick. You've got sole thickness is now actually more along the lines of a medium, rather than, again, ZX4 being a bigger maximum forgiveness thing, it's a little bit thicker. And then when it comes to blade lengths, it is a really attractive looking head, the ZX series. And they really do make a good looking head. And then also when it comes to all of these, you've got those micro grooves etched into the face for added abrasion, a bit more friction when it comes to spinaroo. Right, let's go give this a hit. And let's go see how we get on. 180 yards, I think I may have bitten off a bit more than I can chew when it comes to this, because that's a long way for a 31 degree head. Yeah, feel-wise is distinctly different to the 4. 4 is punchy, hollow head, massive, much bigger body. Compared to this, it does feel somewhat different. What was that? Path slightly from the inside, face slightly closed, but a good strike. Doing well. What's that? 39.6, nearly 40 yards in the air. 50 degrees ascent angle, and a carry of 180 yards. Now, of course, that's at 91.2 miles an hour. It's more like my normal speed. Now, I will be doing a test. When I do the test, I'll be dialing the speed down a fraction when it comes to these. These are all meant for slightly different golfers, remember. So the 5 is kind of the middle of the range-ish when it comes to golfers, with a little bit of help inspired when it comes to the 7, a bit more players, forged, yeah, player. And then the 4 will be the person that needs the most help. Let's go see how this one works again. Oh, that's a miss from me. Not the greatest part of the face to hit it from, but it's doing well, considering that was my fault when it comes to the strike. Yeah, 8mm low, 8mm heel, face and path, very good really. There's nothing wrong with that. It was just the strike that done the job. 38 yards in the air though, and 50 degrees of center angle. It's just doing really well. And this is what I would possibly go to when it comes to, for myself, in the longer irons, distinctly, the 5, maybe 6 iron, and then go into more of the bladed option when it comes to the scoring side of things, because you will get the help. I mean, that's going 174 yards carry. The previous one went 180, or whatever it was. It's just doing a really good job, like really good job. And this thing is within reason 1 degree short of what my 6 iron is. So I've got to be seeing this as my 6 iron more than anything else. And I'm going to be struggling to get my 6 iron up, stopping that well, just purely because, again, it's got the help. And that's what you're going to get. You're going to get added launch and added forgiveness when you don't quite catch it. Oh, like that one again. That was low on the face again. Face slightly open. But my miss is off to the right. I'll get the occasional one that goes left. So when it comes to this green, I'm definitely not messing with that pin. But it's going 36 yards in the air, 50 degrees to center, 49.4 at 173. So I'm not losing a huge amount for something which I felt that's not good. 10mm low is not a good strike. Now you can get away with 10mm low. You can never get away with 10mm high. Right, let's go give this another hit. Maybe another 2, because it's actually quite nice hitting this one. It is just nice. It really is. Cool. I mean, that's going, how far was that going? What was the carry on that? 178. Good strike. Good face control. Just good. 39 yards in the air, 51 degrees rounded. Yeah, definitely I could play. I mean, the sound on this one is much nicer than the 4. The 4 is explosive, it's poppy. This one, it is a little bit more dull. It's definitely not blade dull, but it's confidence inspiring pop. That's good. I mean, yeah. Srixon, you've made some very good irons here. Well done. I'm looking forward to putting this up against other manufacturers as well for a bit of fun. Strike was fairly good, 5mm toe, 1mm high, but path and face were very good. 40 yards in the air, 51 degrees descent angle. Yeah, this is a very good iron. Right, let's go see. Remember, this is not the 4. This is not the maximum help one. Let's go whack this all over the face. High toe, heel low. And I will do this one also when it comes to my normal test of where how it performs off different parts of the face, fair enough. But I'll also catch some information at lower speeds to see how well this does. Remember, this is 31 degrees, so we are talking about this going to be a middle of the range swing speed player. But let's go see how well the ZX5 gets on. So let's go see how forgiving this ZX5 is. Now, I've captured some information for averages, yes, but I've also hit some shots and captured some information from all around the face, some real weird extremes, to see how well it does and see how forgiving this ZX5 is. Also, at the very end, I've captured some low speed, some slower speed data as well. So we can understand what point this ZX5 becomes non-functional and where you're going to have to transition, etc. when it comes to speed-related problems. But let's go to the averages first, then we'll look at the forgiveness and then the slow speed after that. On average for the Srixon ZX5, we have ball speed of 118.6 miles an hour, launching at 20.1 degrees. Remember, this is a 31 degree 7-iron, so launching pretty well. Spinning at 5,600. Again, people might say that is that low or is it not? You have to remember that 31 degrees is 1 degree off my 6 iron, and within reason my 6 iron is not far off 6,000 RPM. Remember the whole kind of idea when it comes to shifting thousands for numbers. As golf clubs have changed, we have to then move around a little bit. So yeah, 5,600 is pretty good for 31 degree lofted 7 iron. It's going 36 yards in the air and descending at 48.6 degrees, so more than functional at 169 yards. Now, remember when it comes to my hitting live, it was going further. Why was it going further? Because basically this includes interesting mishits. Now, when it comes to your data set, I would always suggest, unless they're outliers, as in ones that don't happen hardly ever, but they just happen every so often, like if you're someone who doesn't really shank it hardly at all, and in your test you hit a shank. Well, there's no point in adding that into the data set because that's not something that you do consistently all the time. However, if you do 7 shanks out of 10, I would definitely be adding that in. But so it's doing really well. And when it comes to the club head side of things, club head speed is 89.2 miles an hour, so slightly under my normal speed. Efficiency is 1.33, attack angle is 4 degrees down, club path and face to path is very 0.0, so is lie, and loft is 26.7 degrees, so 27 degrees nearly. Face impact is 2 mil hill, 4 mil low as a average, so we've got a slightly slower swing speed for average, and also we have got, you can see standard deviation on there when it comes to strike, so you can see that there's where the difference comes from what you saw live to what I've gained here, because obviously we've got averages involved when it comes to some weird and wonderful shots. Let's go have a quick look at the ball and club compare, because some people like to see it in graphical representation rather than tabular form. They can understand and see how things are descending and stuff like that. Enough of that, let's go and do the forgiveness side of things. So first one, remember when it comes to our efficiency, we're averaging at 1.33. Obviously that includes weird and wonderful shots. So let's go have a look at a 15 mil hill, 4 mil low. So 15 mil hill is the biggest one. 4 millimeters low is fractionally low, but it's the 15 mil hill is the largest one. And efficiency's gone to 1.31. 0.02 off average, which considering 169 is our average and it's going 163, again this is slightly slower club head speed as well, it's doing really, really well. I'm losing about 6 yards from a very poor strike and a slightly slower club head speed, so it's doing really very, very well. I was quite impressed of how good the ZX5 is from heel shots. If you then move that to an extreme heel, we'll call it, again, the ZX5 is the middle one of the two. You've got the ZX4 for the maximum size, even though it's not massively bigger than the ZX5. And then, of course, the ZX7 is smaller again, so it sits in the middle there. But you can't get away with 21 millimeters hill. You've got a 88 miles an hour club head speed. You've got path and face, which is very 0, which is good. And everything else is pretty good. But I pushed my luck when it comes to trying to hit some extreme heels. 21 millimeters heel, I have found that that is where the hosel starts to interact with the golf shot in question, and you can see there it's gone 30 yards right from that delivery. It's because of the hosel. Don't hit it if you're getting anywhere close to that. I mean, of course, this is a little bit of fun from the point of finding out how far you can push something, but if you're getting anywhere near that, we need to be having a chat about coaching rather than anything to do with trying to find a golf club that's going to suit your strike pattern. So low heel, which is generally the worst part of a golf club you can hit, but we have got a 1.33 average, and that's dropping now down to 1.28, so we've lost 0.05 from a 9 mil low, 10 mil hill. So yes, generally not a very nice place at all for you to hit a golf ball with a golf club, not at all. But path and face are fairly good. It's just a case of it's the strike, and we have lost a little bit, but it's done very, very well considering, again, is a slightly slower speed and it's a horrid strike. We've lost 9 yards, but that's the reasons why. It's done really, really well from that kind of strike. So next one, low on the face, 10 mil low. We dropped 0.03 to 1.30 efficiency, but that is from a 4 mil hill, 10 mil low, so 10 mil low specifically. And then also, let's be honest, it is 1.3 degrees open, the face is 1.3 degrees open, and I've added a fraction more loft as well. So you've got to be honest when it comes to understanding or critiquing where the efficiency is and how good or bad something is. It's not fair to me to say, well, it's dropped 0.03, or that's really good from that strike. It's actually done far better than that, because I've added 1 degree or 1 point something degrees of loft, and then I've also hit it with a face open, which generally speaking has a bit more of a glancing blow. So actually it's doing really, really well. Let's swap that over to a low toe hit, and that's very, very good. Path is bang on 0.0, and face is fractionally open 0.7 degrees. Efficiency is 1.30, again 0.03 away from our average, and so it's gone 162, so we have lost a fraction distance, but that's not bad considering it's 7mm low, 12mm toe. That's 19mm gross off, and it's not good, but it's done really, really well. I'm very impressed with just how consistent the ZX5 is. The ZX5 is not a rocket ship. It's not something which is going to give you huge amounts of distance. If you want distance, that's what the 4 is for. This is a best of both worlds golf club, where it gives you, it definitely does give you distance. Of course it does. What we're saying is not a distance inspired iron, but it's not lacking in distance. What I'm finding so far is just so darn consistent, from regardless of within reason where you hit it on the face. And then we've got these last one here where we go different speeds. Yeah, last one here before we go to the different speeds. 1.32 efficiency, so 0.01 off of the average. Face and path are very, very zero, and we are at 14mm toe, which is a standard relatively poor miss hit on the toe, and it's done exceptionally well. Lost 2 yards off the average. This ZX5, more I use it, the more personally I'm impressed with it. It is definitely something that I would possibly use when it comes to a long iron. Would I use it in the rest of the sets? No, I'd probably go ZX7 or the forged or the full-on blade. I do like blades and stuff like that. There's reasons why, and I won't get into this video, but it is something that I could definitely use in the longer iron on the basis of just how well it performs. So, okay, we know how well it performs when it comes to mishits. We know how well it performs when it comes to generalized, normally hitting it out the middle. What happens when you take speed off? What happens, does it get to a point of where it stops becoming functional when you start taking the swing speed off? So I've captured one here at 80 miles an hour. Remember, the ZX5, ZX4s, ZX7s, they're generally targeted towards different golfers, and in general they have different swing speeds attached to them. Again, that's a very generalized thing. I try and stay out of generalization, because again, you can be responsible for making people better but then also worse at the very same time. So I'll capture one here 80 miles an hour, which is not greatly fast with a 7-iron, but face is slightly open, and face is also, with that face being slightly open, added a fraction more loft. It's 3mm high, 3mm hill, so very close to middle anyway. It's going 155 yards and 1.35 efficiency. It is very, very close to middle. And of course, when you're looking at the averages of 1.33, which I've we were talking about earlier, that's based on averages of me hitting all around the face. So 1.35 is about maxed out for this golf club. And it's going 155 yards carry, so yes, not the 170 that we've been seeing, or slightly more when it comes to trying to hit it at full speed out the middle on the live stuff, but it's going 155, but it's also going 32 yards in the air and descending at 47 degrees. So again, even if you take speed off to 80 miles an hour, it's still going a decent distance, it's still going up a decent distance, and it's also descending well as well. So you could quite easily play these golf clubs, this 7-iron, even into a low, mid, I would say mid 70 miles an hour. Anything under 70 miles an hour, and then you're going to have to look at trying to find other ideas to try and get the golf club. But effectively what you'd say is, you get down to 70 something miles an hour, you'd use a 7-iron, because it would go under the 45 degree, yes it would, but then you transition into your 6 into your hybrid. But we are now talking about distinctly taking speed off, and I am very, very impressed. When it comes to looks, let's just summarize very quickly. When it comes to looks, yes, I do like the ZX5. I prefer the 5 over the 4 because it's sleeker. It's still got the technology in there of the 4, but it's just a much smaller package. Looks and feel. Well, feel it is softer, duller, quieter than the 4, but again, the technology changes. And so that is very subjective. Whether you like it or you don't is different for 10 different golfers who ask the same question, and you get 10 different answers. When it comes to performance though, the ZX5 is possibly one of the most consistent irons I've ever tested. From mishits as well. Is it a distance rocket ship? No, let's be honest. There are golf clubs out there which are longer in its brackets, yes. However, what you gain from out the middle, there are always going to be penal sides to the rest of where you hit. So you're going to gain from middle shots, but then lose from when you mishit it. This ZX5 is very, very good from the middle. Yes, of course it will be, but it's also very, very good when you mishit it as well. And it's eerie close in consistency to what you would naturally see from something like a Stealth HD. Well, that's a hybrid head. And so that just shows how good this ZX5 is. So, hope you liked the video. If you did, thumbs up. YouTube liked it, so do I. Down there is a subscribe button. If you can click that one, that'd be brilliant. It's free and it's brilliant for the channel. Next to it is a bell icon. That's a notification bell. If you click that one, that will notify you next time I upload another video, and it will be the ZX7. And I've also got the drivers, ZX5 and the ZX7 drivers to do as well. So make sure you subscribe and get that bell on. Make sure you don't miss another video. So hope you're well, and we'll see you again soon.